3 signs that she's wife quality. This is probably the most frequently asked question I've ever gotten. How do I know that the girl that I'm interested in is fit to be my wife one day? I'm one of the few men who genuinely have that 10 out of 10 fantasy like marriage, where my wife worships me like a god. She's fully devoted to me. She puts me above everyone else. She does exactly what I want, anything that I want. But how did I know that she was the one for me? This involved a lot of logical analysis. I had to analyze my wife when we first met to make sure that she was potentially my soulmate, that she was genuinely a good quality, decent woman who I could commit my life to, that she would flourish my life in return. But how did I know this? The answer will genuinely surprise you because it's got nothing to do with the common things that most men say. If you learn from my experience and you just watch this entire video and apply what I tell you, it will genuinely save you from heartbreak. Because a relationship isn't futile, it matters. We are not robots. You are a human being. You have emotions. Your time and effort can't be wasted. Imagine dating or even marrying a truly toxic woman, someone that crushes your soul, your motivation, your happiness every single day. There are men who are genuinely married to women like this. Or alternatively, imagine letting go of a good quality, a wife quality woman. That you had her, she could have become this 10 out of 10 wifey quality woman for you, but you let her go. How soul crushing must that feel years later? What I've found is most men aren't dating or even marrying wife quality women. You only have to go onto social media like Instagram and you'll see these influences, masculinity influences. They're quite cringy. They show off their wealth. They try to be quite aggressive. They try to mimic Andrew Tate and Hamza, but they're nowhere near on that level. They're nowhere near at that level of maturity. And one thing these influencers always promote to their male followers is the idea of a traditional life with a traditional woman, that you should marry a virgin, high-quality girl, and your life will be set from that. And yet, when you look at this influencer's life, they don't even follow what they preach. All of these influencers are either dating or married to extremely low-quality women. The type of women that have social media of their own, where they show provocative pictures of them in a bikini, of them sticking their ass out in the gym. Is that the kind of behavior that you would see in a wife quality woman? If I asked these influencers to define what a wife quality woman is, they couldn't. They'd say some basic stuff like, she's a virgin. She wants to be a housewife. First of all, that's extremely basic. Obviously, she has to be a virgin. Obviously, she has to be a housewife. If that's your definition of a wife quality woman, I pity you because you have no idea of the deeper spiritual things involved. Secondly, if that's truly what you believe, then why haven't you dated or married a woman like that? Why is your current girlfriend or wife, why is she acting like a whore? She's definitely not a virgin when she met you. You just have to go on her social media, go far back enough, and you'll see that she's been with tons of other guys, passed around from one influencer to the next. You're only dating her and you're only married her because number one, she's good looking. You let your dick make all your life life's decisions. And number two, because you're needy. Because no other girl wants you. No wife quality girl wants you. Imagine wasting your whole life with a woman who's not even fit to be a wife. A woman that you feel ashamed by deep down because of her behaviors, because of how promiscuous she is, because of how disrespectful she is, disobedient she is. Or imagine rejecting a very decent woman, a very wholesome, cute, feminine girl, because you didn't realize her worth at the time, because you were too busy chasing trash girls just like these influencers. You only get one life in this world. I hope there's an afterlife. I genuinely do. But one thing I am certain for is one life. Then you die, and your entire existence is terminated from eternity, at least in this world. You only get one life. Isn't it better to spend it with your genuine soulmate? The true wife that you would flourish together with. Before I met my wife, I went from a kissless loser virgin, where I never had any experience with girls, they didn't like me. I then figured out how to seduce girls, how to make them fall in love with me. And one day I will make a very detailed video on how I did that. I then became a dirty degenerate, where I started sleeping around with a different woman every week. It was around that time that I realized I was wasting my soul away. I was just chasing instant gratification in the form of short physical connections where I meet these girls, I have sex with them, a few hours later I'm back home. There's no emotional connection involved. There's no spiritual connection involved. So something had to change. I decided one day, after I had about 50 plus hookups, that I'm going to do things differently now. That I'm not going to give attention to girls who don't meet my standards. My minimum standards for a woman who has wife quality potential. And similarly, just because a woman gives me attention, just because a woman wants to date me or even have sex with me, doesn't mean that I'll do what she wants, unless she meets my core minimum standards that I believe that a wife quality woman should have. And of course, again, the obvious ones apply. Like she has to be a virgin. Why would you ever want to date or marry in a serious relationship a woman who's been penetrated by another man? That she has to be religious. Because when a woman is religious, it doesn't really matter what religion. When she is religious, she has been brought up in this very traditional way of life. She understands that there's a higher power, a greater entity that is watching us, judging us, and loving us. She believes in a form of karma, that if she lives her life as a good person, a good daughter, a good sister, a good wife, a good mother, that she will be granted eternity in paradise. If a woman isn't raised religious, that doesn't mean she's a bad person automatically. It just means she hasn't had these experiences, so you're facing an uphill battle. That she wants to get married and have children. Again, why would you ever want to date or marry a woman who is quite anti-marriage, quite anti-children? The whole point of dating and marriage is biological. You find a mate, you reproduce, you have offspring that continue your legacy well after you're gone. But again, these standards, they're too basic. That's not enough to filter out a good woman from an extremely high quality woman. Some women are literally virgins because they're not old enough yet, or because they still live at home. So let's say you assume that a woman has to be a virgin, which she does obviously, but that's one of your core standards. There's one woman who is a virgin, but she's not a virgin by choice. She just hasn't had sex with other men yet because she lives at home with her family or because she's quite young. The moment she turns older, the moment she moves out to university, maybe she gets a job and she gets her own flat, she could very well start having hookups with different guys, go to nightclubs, get pissed drunk, go home with a different guy every week. There are girls that have literally done this. In my high school, there were some girls that I thought were genuinely decent people because I assumed they were virgins. I thought they hadn't dated before and they were saving themselves up for that truly special man. Turns out that wasn't true. A lot of them were just waiting until they went off to university. And back then we used to connect through Facebook and I would see pictures of them just hanging out with guys, with a different guy every week. Snapchat stories of them dancing and grinding on a different guy. Strangers. So virginity, her religion, her desire to get married and have children, these are of course essential, but this is not what this video is about. I want to tell you about the deeper spiritual things that truly define a wife quality woman. What are the most important qualities that a woman must have to satisfy the future version of me? The version of me that will be this supreme masculine man, this supreme traditional man. Just because a woman satisfies me right now, that doesn't mean that she will continue to satisfy me in 5 years' time when I've continually improved myself, when I've continually improved my understanding of the world of relationships, of marriage. Think of your potential wife, your potential girlfriend as an investment. You want to make sure that she is that 2008 Bitcoin, that diamond in the rough, that when you find her, you'll know instantly she has potential. That if we date and marry and we grow together, we connect together, I could really mold her into this perfect wife quality woman. The first and most important standard is respect. Respect is the most important and essential thing a woman can give to her boyfriend, her husband. As a man, your respect is your worth. It doesn't matter how much you make, how much money you have, how attractive you are, how tall you are, what your house looks like, what your car looks like, how many friends you have. Irrelevant. Your true worth as a man is how much people respect you. And nobody's respect is worth more than your romantic partner, your girlfriend, your wife. If your own woman doesn't respect you, you are nothing. I am 6'2". I'm essentially a millionaire. I have my own house in the countryside. I drive a semi-nice car. I can buy whatever I want. I'm very confident, charismatic, sociable. All of that is irrelevant. I am worth nothing if my own wife doesn't respect me, and I'm worth even less than nothing if my own wife disrespects me. Because if your own girlfriend or your own wife doesn't respect you, why should anyone else? The most important person in your life criticizes you, looks down on you, treats you less than your worth. So why should somebody else show you respect? You are nothing. Through my wife and myself, we have some friends. We don't see them too often. Now and then. We're quite introverted people in a way. We like to keep to ourselves. I've been to social events, weddings of other couples, and seen other couples there that we just talk to and just get to know. And I've been shocked by what I saw. I've seen Muslim couples that you would expect to be very traditional, very religious and grounded, where the wife actively disagrees with her husband. Imagine my wife and I are sat next to a couple friend that we know. They're about our age, around their 30s. They're like us, British, Pakistani, Muslim. Some of them have children. So on the surface, you would think they have a good quality relationship, that he's a husband quality man and she's a wife quality woman. I have sat in those social situations and seen the husband say something, and the wife snaps at him and says, "You are wrong." No, that's not true. The husband declares something and the wife disagrees with him. It doesn't matter what he said, it's irrelevant. Imagine your own woman disagreeing with you in public. I've seen wives attack their husbands, not physically, but attack how they look, attack their personality, criticize their husbands, bring them down, especially in public. How must that feel as a man? Imagine yourself right now, you want to become this masculine, strong, dominant man. Imagine how powerless you would feel in a social situation where your wife disrespects you. She makes fun of you. Now, in these examples that are provided, real examples, by the way, the wife wasn't being malicious. When I talked about this couple and the wife was disagreeing with her husband, she wasn't doing it because she's a bad person. She was doing it because that's just the type of person she is. She's a disrespectful wife. She didn't mean to offend her husband, but she still did it anyway. It was embarrassing seeing that. I felt embarrassed for the husband, and he couldn't do anything. You can't yell at your wife in public. People will be outraged. You can't just stand up and storm off. People will think you're just an emotional crybaby. So you just have to sit there and listen to the person that you trust the most criticize you, disagree with you, attack you, disrespect you in front of others. Now, if his own wife does this, without sounding cruel, why should I respect this man? Why should I want to speak to him? He's pathetic. He's actively in a relationship where his own wife humiliates him in public. And this isn't the first time. If she does this in public, imagine what she does behind the scenes when they're alone in their house. Imagine what their children see. You're supposed to look at your father as this strong, dominant man. Imagine seeing your own father get schooled, talked down on, humiliated by your own mother. Would you respect your own father? It would be very hard to. The way I see it is, as a man, I respect God. I dedicate my life to Him. I respect His judgment. I respect His guidance, His power, His knowledge. Why do I do this? Because I have this belief that He is above me. I have this belief that He wants the best for me. Even when I don't quite understand His reasoning, I have faith that if I follow what He does, if I be this best man that I can be, I will be rewarded. As a man, you provide shelter to your wife. As a man, you provide safety to your wife. As a man, you provide love and comfort to your wife. All the things that I believe God does for me. Therefore, a wife must respect her husband equally, just like a man respects God. I am not saying that a wife must look at her husband as if he's a god. That's idol worshipping. That's not allowed. But respect should be equal. A wife should look at her husband with that same faith, with that same trust, with that same love and respect that man does when he looks to God. And there is nothing wrong with that at all. This shows that this wife, this woman, genuinely trusts you. She believes in you. She knows that you want the best for her. Sometimes you might do things or say things that she doesn't really understand, but that's okay. She doesn't need to understand. What she needs to do is to respect your judgment, respect your decision making. This shows that she's committed to you, and most importantly, that she values you. You are not disposable for her. A wife who disrespects her husband is showing everyone that he is a disposable man, that she doesn't care if their relationship ends. She will find someone else, probably someone that she respects more than him. Respect is the most important quality a woman can have, especially one that wants to be this wife quality woman. It is more important than love, attractiveness, even virginity. Crazy, isn't it? Imagine there are two women in front of you. One of them is a virgin, but she is an extremely disrespectful woman. If you date her or if you marry her, she will humiliate you in public. She will disagree with you in public. She will show to the whole world that you have no authority over her, that you are nothing. Imagine the disrespect you will get from other people. Would they treat you like a masculine man? But on the other hand, you have another woman. She's not a virgin. In fact, let's say she's a prostitute. She has sex with men for money. But if you were to date her, if you were to marry her, she would be fully devoted to you. She would show disgust at her previous life. She will look to you as if you've just shown her the light, just like how God shows light to you as a man. You are her knight in shining armor. You are the one that took her from the darkness of these disgusting things that she was doing and showed her the kingdom of God. What kind of love, loyalty, respect would that kind of woman show to you? The ultimate kind. She would be fully devoted to you. She would never disrespect you. Anything you want, anything you do, anything you desire, she will do for you without question. Now, I've told you two of these women. Which one would you rather marry? It can be quite hard, but you should understand the point that I'm trying to make. Whereas men, we think virginity is so important, and it is. But now do you see why respect is even more important? How do you know that she's respectful? Look for signs that show to you that she puts you above others. She has her own life when you guys first meet. She has her friends, family, co-workers, and so on. But if she is a truly respectful woman, if she has potential to become this 10 out of 10 wife quality woman, she will have this inherent desire to dedicate herself to her husband, to treat him like he is superior, because he is. He's stronger than her, he's taller than her, he provides for her, he protects her, he's superior in every way. And she values that. So she puts you above others. If she has a choice to spend an evening having a coffee date with her friends or a coffee date with you, she will pick you because your presence alone fills her with this love and comfort. Another analogy is, imagine if your girlfriend or the woman that you're looking to marry, or even your wife, is out with her friends, and one of her friends who's a little bit toxic, a little bit snarky, the type of girl who likes to start drama. Imagine if she says to your wife, "Your husband told me 2 plus 2 equals 5. What an idiot." Imagine having the kind of wife who says, "If my husband said 2 plus 2 equals 5, then 2 plus 2 equals 5. And obviously her friends would argue, "How can it? Let me show you logically." But your wife is like, "No, I'm not interested in logic. I trust my husband. If my husband said something, I believe in him because he is not the type of man to tell lies. He is a masculine, traditional man. He knows that his word is his worth as well. I believe him. I trust him. She chooses you over her friends, even though logically it would be the other way round. How many women will do this for their husbands, do you think? In the examples that I provided before, in real life situations where my wife and I have seen couples at weddings or just for a dinner, imagine if somebody said, your husband said 2 plus 2 equals 5. Those wives will probably laugh and say, what an idiot. No, it doesn't. You are wrong, they will say to their own husband. Imagine having the wife who sticks up for you. Another analogy is, I'm a Muslim, so I don't eat pork. Why? Simple answer, because God told me not to. Logically, it doesn't make sense. Logically, when I ask people, why can't I eat pork as a Muslim? I got loads of different answers. Someone said it's because pigs inherently are dirty animals. The way they live, the way they eat, it's not hygienic. And I thought, okay, but that doesn't explain why their meat is tainted. Many animals live in a dirty way, and yet I can eat them. Another person said it's because pig meat is not nutritionally valuable. That the quality of nutrition that you get from pork meat is not good for you. And that's why God thought ahead and said, I don't want my children to eat this. Okay? But I can eat ultra processed fast food like burgers and pizzas and all this other garbage that people eat nowadays. Is pig meat really worse than that? When you look at this logically, it doesn't make sense. So why do I still not eat pig? Because I trust God. I respect him. I may not understand why he said this. Logically, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense, but it's irrelevant. I believe God is superior than me in every way. His power, his knowledge, his presence. So if he says something, I have full faith that he says it for my own benefit. He would never say something that would be against my best interests. So I trust him. And out of this love and respect that I have for him, I will abide by his rules. This is how a wife should be for her husband. Sometimes the husband may say things like the 2 plus 2 equals 5, or do things that she may not understand. Most other people won't understand because this husband is far superior than them. What matters is, does she trust her husband like man trusts God? That's respect. Some signs that she is not respectful. Say if you meet a girl on a date, look out for these signs because this will show you she probably isn't wife quality. If she disagrees with you publicly, if you say something or do something, and in public she has this authority to challenge you, that shows she is not a respectful person. You wouldn't do that anyway if you're meeting someone on a date. It's such a weird and socially unacceptable thing to do. Where even if you're meeting someone and they say something that you don't fully agree with, to actively disagree with them shows that you are a very toxic person. That you're just looking to overshadow them through your own authority. It's a very cringe-worthy thing to do. If this girl treats you like any other person, if you say to her, hey, I would love to take you out for a coffee date. When are you free? And if she says, oh, sorry, I'm not free at all. I've got lots of things to do. I can tell you right now, women are not busy. Even the most independent, masculine, hardworking, business-focused women are not busy 24/7. The reason she doesn't want to meet with you is because other people come above you. Is that respect? No. What do you think she will be like if you were to date her and even marry her long term? Do you think she will continue to put others above you? Of course. because that's inherently who she is. That's her values. She doesn't think that her future husband is worth the time and effort than other people. If she values her friends more than you, this is a very common one. Women, of course, should have friends, but if you've ever seen how some female friendship groups can get, you will be disgusted. There's so much toxicity, so much jealousy, so much envy. Her friends may genuinely be jealous of her that she has found a man like you. So they start putting poison in her ear. They start telling her, stop letting that man put himself above you. Who does he think he is? You're a strong, independent woman. You shouldn't listen to him. You should follow what you want. But if your girl chooses to follow them over you, that shows that she's disrespectful. Imagine your wife being your number one fan, backing you at every opportunity. Wouldn't that be the life? That's literally the life that I have right now. Second standard is obedience. As a masculine man, you're probably working really hard on your business, your physique, your health, your family, your friends, building these high quality connections. And that involves a lot of hard work, a lot of time and effort. So life is already hard enough. But imagine being with a woman who genuinely makes that life harder, who disagrees with you at every step, especially when you give her an instruction, even if it's just the both of you, and she completely refuses to do what you say. One thing I've found being a masculine man who's married and in this very traditional loving relationship is my relationship flourishes when I issue commands to my wife, not requests. When I tell her what to do instead of asking her to do it. And this is nothing to be ashamed about. Women follow commands all the time from others. When my wife was a young girl and she went to school, she followed commands from her teachers. The teachers didn't ask her to do the work. They told her to do it, and she did it happily. Then when my wife was older and she went to work because she hadn't met me back then, I hadn't retired her, she followed commands from her boss, her manager. Her manager didn't ask her to do those reports on time or ask her to sort out this customer feedback survey. Her manager told her to do it. There was no request, it was a command. And my wife happily did it. Now imagine me. I'm her husband. I provide for her. I shelter her. I comfort her. I love her. I give her affection. I've retired her. I've retired her whole family. I treat her like the most beautiful princess in the world. Imagine if I gave her a command now, and she refused to follow it because she got offended. How dare this man give me commands? Do you think then my wife would have been a wife quality woman? Of course not. She's obedient towards others, but she's disobedient with me? That is completely unacceptable. I'm so fortunate that my wife is the most obedient person I've ever met in my life. I could tell her if I wanted to jump off this cliff, and she'd do it because it's an instruction. She has so much love and faith in me that she follows almost blindly everything I say. Everything. A wife must follow her husband's commands, just like man follows God's commands. If you're watching this right now, and if you're even a little bit offended by what I'm saying because you might be a feminist or you might believe in equal rights, fine. I'm not here to convert you into what I believe. But what I will say is your hopes of having a traditional loving relationship are gone. You cannot have that traditional fantasy-like relationship that I have, where my wife worships me, is fully devoted to me, if your wife is not fully obedient. Now, inside, my wife may not like what I say. if I tell her to do something or not do something, inside she might feel like that's unfair. She might not be happy, and that's okay. I am not an enforcer. I'm not someone that will force her to be happy. She has a right to express her emotions, but she must follow what I say. When a husband issues a command, it's absolutely okay for the wife inside to be unhappy because she doesn't agree with his decision or she doesn't understand it, but she must follow it. A very common example that you see now is young men aged between 20 and 30 will have a girlfriend, like those cringe influences that I told you about, where the man tries to be masculine and dominant, but his girlfriend is just a thought, a whore, a promiscuous girl. So one day he sees that she's getting ready to go out with her female friends for a girls' night out. And he sees that she's wearing a very short dress, a very booby dress, and he's not going with her. She's going to a nightclub with her friends. And he says to her, "You're not wearing that. I'm not letting you leave the house looking like that." Imagine if his girlfriend said, "Screw you. You don't tell me what to do. I'll wear whatever I want." Is that a wife quality woman? In honesty, a wife quality woman wouldn't even wear that kind of outfit in the first place. But imagine if she instead said, "I don't really understand why this is not okay. But since you've asked me, since you've told me, of course I will follow what you've said." How much simpler would that make your life versus the wife that says, the girlfriend that says, "Screw you. I'm an independent, strong woman. I don't need a man to tell me what I can and can't do." Vast majority of men are in relationships with a woman who is disobedient. Commands aren't a bad word at all. Sometimes they can be to do with safety. Imagine if your girlfriend or your wife is coming to see you. She says, "No, I'll walk." But you say, "Unacceptable, it's late. Friday night. There'll be guys on the town drunk, hassling women. I'm going to book you a taxi and you're going to go in that." A woman who says, "Yes, you're right. I'll take the taxi." That shows that she's obedient. She listens to your command. She follows it. It's to do with safety. Retiring your wife. When I first met my wife, she was working full time. She hated her job. She always wanted to be a housewife. She just wanted to take care of her husband, her home, and her children. So when I told her, "From now on, you're not working. You're going to quit your job, effective immediately. You're going to be a housewife and I'll provide for both of us." Do you know what her response was? "Can you help me write my resignation letter?" True story. That was her actual response. She got so giddy and excited. She said, "I want to resign today." So I helped her write her resignation letter. We sent it to a manager, basically saying, "My man will take care of me now," to put it nicely. Making decisions. As a man, you have to make decisions every day, especially when you're married. You don't have the time to explain to your wife every decision that you make. There could be 100 decisions, ranging from small to big. You've done all the logical analysis. You've done all the critical thinking to decide this option is the best one for me, for her, for us. So when you tell her this is the option we're going to take, she should have enough trust and faith in you that she says, "Of course. I don't understand why this option is better, but I know you do. So I will follow what you say." So signs that she's obedient is when you first meet, when you first start dating, she literally texts and calls and meets you on your schedule, whenever you want. When you tell her, "Send me a picture of you," I don't mean in like a sexual way, just a wholesome, cute way. She sends it, even if she's feeling insecure. Because she trusts you. She trusts that you're not the type of man who would turn the conversation sexually explicit. That you're not the type of man who would make her feel insecure. You're the type of man that when she sends a picture to, that you make her feel valuable. You make her feel pretty. She has this faith in you. She dresses how you want. Just because your wife is a high quality woman doesn't mean she can't be your whore. My marriage philosophy is never make a whore your housewife. Make your housewife your whore. So you will tell your wife that when she's going out, maybe for shopping or to see her friends, she must dress modestly. An obedient wife will. But a lot of young men think this means that their wife will never look sexy again for them. That is not true. When my wife goes out to see her feminine friends, she dresses very modestly. She wears a very long skirt that covers her entire ankles. She wears a shirt that covers her entire torso, and then she usually wears a cardigan on top. She's fully dressed. The only part of her skin that shows are her hands and her face, because I don't command her to wear a hijab. That's my decision. But when me and my wife go out for a date night, when it's just both of us, and I want it to be romantic and sexy, I want her to be a whore for me, because that turns me on. I will tell my wife to wear a slutty dress for me. The type of short dress that I can see her legs and her massive tits. When we go out, she's fully covered up. She's wearing a long coat. But then when we get to the restaurant and we're in our private booth, because I always book the private booth, doesn't matter how much it costs, because I want privacy. That's when she'll take her coat off and I can see her sexy self. So she dresses how I want, modestly in some scenarios, like a whore with me in others. And she also behaves how I want. I don't have the time to deal with drama or games in a relationship. My wife knows that I work very hard, that I only have so many brain points to spend throughout the day. I'll rather spend them on the things that flourish our life, like our business, my health, her health, our life, our future children. So she makes my life easy. I've told her once that I don't want games or drama in this relationship, and that's what she does. She purposely lives her life. She behaves in a way where we have fewer arguments, fewer fights. She puts in active effort to do that. What about signs that she's not obedient? If you meet a girl for the first time, or maybe you're dating a girl, and if she shows any of these signs, I can tell you right now, she is a disobedient person. If she rejects your commands, as simple as that. Sure, she might do what you want if you ask her, if you request her. But try giving her a command. Try telling her to do something or not do something. It could be as simple as you telling her, have this specific dinner ready for me when I get home. Maybe roast chicken, lasagna. Make it for me tonight when I get home. If I sent that text to my wife, you know what her response would be? Okey pokey, and a million kisses afterwards. What would your girlfriend do? What would your girlfriend say, or your wife? Would she give the same response, or would she be like, where's the please? Where's the thank you? There are no pleases or thank yous in a command. That's why it's a command. And you should never be ashamed of issuing a command as a masculine man and a husband. If she takes offense at commands, if you tell her you're not dressing like that when you're trying to go out by yourself, and if she gets offended, who the F are you to tell me what to do? You don't control me. I'm a strong, independent woman. How dare you speak to me like that? If she gets offended by commands, she is a disobedient person. She is not wife quality. Remember, this exact woman would be happy to follow commands from her friends. Her friends told her, let's go out on a girls' night out tonight. Let's get pissed drunk. Let's go wander the town and go to different nightclubs. And she was like, yes. When her boss tells her, have this report done in a week, she's like, of course. When you tell her to not wear something that shows off her skin that should be reserved just for you, she gets offended. That shows she doesn't value you. She doesn't look to you as a supreme entity. She is not wife quality. If a girl has a poor relationship with her father, or if her father is a weak, feminine person, she is likely to be disobedient. As a father, you are expected to keep your house disciplined. As a masculine man and a father, it's your duty to make sure, obviously, that your family are loved and provided for, but that they do not deviate from your values, what you believe in. You keep your wife in check. Make sure that she's doing her duties as a wife, as a housewife, looking after the house, looking after your children. And if she doesn't, you will bring her up. You won't just tolerate disrespect or lack of care in your children. You will say to her, you need to get this done because I'm telling you to. Similarly, as a strong father, it's your job to make sure your daughters are protected. One day, your daughters will go from these little cute princesses into womanhood. Will you let them wear a bikini outside? How disgusting. How utterly disgusting. Will you let your daughters go drinking? Grinding on different boys when they go to university? How disgusting. So if a girl hasn't had this strong father looking out for her, keeping her safe and protected, she's basically been given free will to do whatever she wants. So when you come in her life, she may like you, but she's never been told to be obedient by her own father. She doesn't respect men, especially men who are superior to her, like her father, like her future husband. So when you tell her something, when you issue a command, that could be the very first command she's ever been issued by a man. Of course she'll be offended. Of course she'll reject it. She'll think, who are you? No one has ever told me what to do in my life, and yet you come along? No, I'm going to do whatever I want. If you don't like it, go find someone else. And you know what? You should. You deserve better. You deserve better as a masculine man than a disobedient woman. It's better to be single than to be in a relationship with this type of trash. The last standard is femininity. Everyone always expected me to marry a very high achiever because I have a master's level degree in pharmaceuticals. I've worked as a manager in places that have a turnover of over like $1 million, $2 million a year. I've managed teams, trained people up, so I'm a very high achiever myself. So my family, my friends always expected that the girl I would marry would be a doctor or a lawyer or an entrepreneur, someone who's very hardworking, business focused. Imagine marrying a woman who's just like you. Hardworking, business focused, a decision maker, independent, who lives her life through numbers. What a boring life. As a masculine man, my life is black and white. I do the same things every day. I wake up at a specific time. I have my coffee at the same time. My coffee is made the exact same way. I work for the same number of hours. I then go exercise for the same number of hours using the same workout routine. I then groom myself, take care of my personal hygiene in the same way, shower. I watch the same style of educational content. When I relax, I usually relax in the same way. That's black and white. That progresses me in life. That's why I'm a high achiever. But that's the masculine way of living. That's the way of living when you've thought about everything through logic and fact. What a boring life to live when you think about it. Just that. That's why you need a feminine woman to instill color and love into your life. If you've ever heard of the song Music Sounds Better With You by the band Stardust, that's the best way I can explain what life with a feminine woman is like. The same boring routines, the same boring tasks that you do, like going to the gym, watching educational content, reading a book, becomes so much brighter when there is a very cute, wholesome, feminine girl next to you. It actually makes you more motivated. You start finding the joy and happiness in life. You look forward to it. You live a life based on facts and logic, which means that it's very repetitive and non changing. You've probably been doing the same routine for months, if not years. And if you do change the routine, it's usually because you've done some form of factual analysis to change it. You need a girl, this cute, wholesome, feminine girl who instills a little bit of spontaneity into your life. So you can start experiencing these vibrant emotions with her. Otherwise, your life will continue to be black and white, this same boring, repetitive nature. And that becomes soul crushing. But a feminine woman would, of course, only do this for you, would only instill love and happiness into your life if you are her equally opposite masculine. So, what I'm not saying is that if you want to experience this colorful life that I now live with my wife, that you have to become feminine, that you have to become more spontaneous. Absolutely not. If anything, you have to become more masculine. Your schedule, your routine has to become more strict, more boring. The fun, the color, the love comes from your wife, this feminine goddess who instills color in your life. And she does it because she sees you as this supreme entity who's so masculine and strong and dominant that she just wants to flourish you with a soul. How do you know that she's feminine when you first meet? Well, she's not into business or money making or, maybe she is studying at university. Maybe she does work a job, but that's not her passion in life. That's not her purpose. She does it because maybe her parents told her to, or maybe she was expected to. She didn't have this strong masculine man in her life until now. So when you talk to her, when you're trying to build this emotional connection, you can see that when she talks about her life in terms of the work that she does or her education, she talks in a very boring way. But when she talks about her true passions, that's when she becomes colorful. That's when she becomes giddy and excited. When I first met my wife, we went on cute, wholesome dates where I took her out with the permission of her parents, of course, because my wife comes from a very religious family, very religious. I took her out to ice cream, coffee dates. And my wife was very much into makeup, but not the hoey makeup that you see on Instagram. She didn't do makeup so she could show herself off to others. She did it just because she liked looking different ways, just in her own bedroom. She loved art. She loved making scrapbooks, where she would take pictures with a Polaroid camera, print them out, and every year she makes scrapbooks. She still does this to this day. So when I asked her about her art, when I asked her about her makeup, her scrapbooks, she got so excited. She didn't want to talk about her education. She has a master's level degree in psychology, same as Hamza, my brother. She didn't want to talk about her work. She got out her phone, sat right next to me, and excitedly showed me all the things that she's made, the paintings that she's done. She zoomed in and she said, "Look at this color. I made this color myself. I mixed this, and it was so hard, but I finally got it right. And I painted it, and I was sweating so much because I wanted it to be perfect." Look at the passion that she's showing in the feminine side of her. Even music. She doesn't listen to grime or rap music. Disgusting. If you listen to grime or rap music, it's very hard to respect you, especially if you're female. The type of music that my wife listened to is instrumentals, traditional music, where it goes on for like an hour, peaceful music. And of course, she listens to the generic stuff as well, pop songs like Ariana Grande. But that's not the music that connects to her soul. That is not the music that she listens to when she's at peace or when she's excited. The music that she listens to is one that is very feminine, very beautiful, very colorful. And of course, a sign that this girl is very feminine is that she has this cute, soft personality. She can become very vulnerable with you. She doesn't have a guard up. She follows her emotions, not her logic. Her logic says that she's meeting a stranger on a first date, let's say you. So logically, she should have a guard up. What if you're a psychopath? What if you're a serial killer? But when she meets you and she thinks, wow, this guy is really handsome. Wow, this guy is really into me. He's very decent. He dresses well. He speaks well. Her emotions now get expressed. She's very excited. She's very comfortable. She's even feeling love towards you, and she shows this. These are all signs that she's feminine. But what about if you meet a girl and she's not feminine? What should you look out for? If this girl talks about business, money, even if she's like in a normal but high achieving job like a doctor or a lawyer, and she has a lot of pride in this, nothing wrong with that, but she's not feminine. She values these superficial titles as like a doctor or a lawyer more than her own femininity. If she wants to work, if she gets offended at the idea of being a housewife, if she says that if we get married, I still want to work, that shows she's not feminine. But what's the difference between her and my wife? Because my wife worked when I first met her. She worked because she had to. She needed to. She needed money to support her family. My wife comes from a very dirt poor family. You remember what I said, diamond in the rough? This is what I mean. She worked because if she didn't, her family would starve. But a woman who wants to work, good for her, power to you. But you are not feminine. You are masculine. Remember what I said. Imagine marrying someone just like you. What a boring life. Some girls nowadays have this desire to have a very stoic personality, a very boring personality, where even if they're on a date with a guy who's very masculine, they refuse to be excited. They refuse to be giddy and show their soft personality. They almost show this very boring personality, this very bland personality. They refuse to smile in pictures. They refuse to show excitement and joy. Why they do this is dependent on different people. The reason that I found to be the most common is because they think this is how they show their independence. This is how they let guys know that they are not someone who will let the guy be above them. Well, there's your answer. If this woman is showing you that if you were to date or marry, that she would want to be equals or even above you, is she feminine? Is she submissive? Is she obedient? Is she respectful? Of course not. If she shows signs that she's not feminine, even something as simple as having a deep, low voice, kind of like the crackling voice that Miley Cyrus has. If you go search a Miley Cyrus talking, you'll see she talks like this, like crackling voice. It's repulsive to me. Absolutely repulsive because she sounds like a man. If she shows signs that she's not feminine, she is not wife quality. Find someone else. Many men think that looks are very important, and they are. Physical connection is, of course, important. If you watched one of my previous videos, I described the 3 stages of a relationship, and physical connection is the first stage. So, of course, attractiveness matters, but looks aren't everything for a woman. Take a man. Let's say he's fat. Let's say he's ugly. Let's say he's literally like a 0 out of 10. How long would it take for him to become attractive to women? Years. Years. He'll first have to lose all the weight. He'll then have to work out every single day. Build muscle, bulk cut, bulk cut. That's not even considering to be attractive, to have physical connection with a woman, you need some form of wealth. She needs to have this satisfaction that you can take care of her. Nothing wrong with that. If she's a feminine woman and you want her to be a housewife, then she needs to have this confidence that you can provide for her. So this man now needs to build wealth. He needs to build this charismatic James Bond-like personality where he's well-spoken, he's dominant, he can hold a conversation properly. He needs to show charisma. He needs to show that he has experience in life. He has experience with women, that this isn't the first rodeo that he's gone on. He knows how to make a girl feel special. This takes years overall. What about a woman? Let's say a woman is fat and ugly. How long will it take her to become attractive? Literally weeks or months. Guys literally find most women attractive even if they're fat and ugly. You could literally take a 0 out of 10 woman, like a hideous woman, and turn her into a very attractive woman in 6 months. Literally just go to the gym a few times a week. Don't eat like a pig, eat healthy. And if you're still struggling, go take some Ozempic. Every of these high value women are now on it. All these actresses and celebrities. So if you really wanted to make this woman beautiful, 6 months is all it takes. So having some form of physical attractiveness between you is of course important, but setting it as one of your key standards, as one of those 3 key standards, is moronic. If you do that, you are just like every other chump who dates a disrespectful, disobedient, not feminine woman simply because she looks good, rather than dating a girl who may not look as good as her right now, but she is so respectful and she is so obedient, and deep down her personality is so feminine. And it will literally just take weeks or months for her to become attractive for you. Think about it this way. If the woman that you're dating, if you feel she could become a bit more attractive, if she is obedient, you could literally just tell her this. Literally just say to her politely, I want you to become the best version of yourself physically. I want you to go to the gym every day. I want you to start eating healthy. I want you to slim down and gain this beautiful hourglass figure, because then I will be head over heels for you. I would love you and have so much lust towards you. If she's obedient, she'll do it. She'll think, this is what my man wants. This is what will flourish our relationship. I trust him. I value him. I have faith in him. I will do what he says. If your woman is literally obedient, so obedient, if needed, she'll literally get plastic surgery. I've seen a lot of men reject wife quality women for bimbos. Bimbo is a type of woman that's very superficial in her looks. She's had her lip fillers done. She's had Botox. She's had a boob job. She's had a tummy tuck. She has a BBL done. So she looks good. If you're into that, she looks 10 out of 10. But let's say if that is the only kind of girl that you find attractive, bimbos. Let's say that's just what you like. Nothing wrong with that. Does that mean that you should go and date bimbos? Of course not. Why would you want to date a whore? Remember what I said? Don't try and make a whore your housewife. Make your housewife your whore. If you instead date a woman who's obedient, and this type of look is so important to you sexually, if she respects you and she understands you, and if she's feminine, and if she's obedient, she'll literally go get plastic surgery done. And this sounds so awful to guys who aren't into that, thinking any man who makes his woman take plastic surgery is evil, is wrong. But no, that's not true. A man and woman have the right to spend their life how they wish. So if a man genuinely finds bimbos attractive and his woman genuinely wants to become the most attractive version of herself for him, she will happily go get plastic surgery done. And there is nothing wrong with that. Just because you don't like it or it's not to your tastes doesn't mean that it's wrong. Standards like respect, obedience, femininity, these focus on the absolute essential qualities that can't be changed in a woman. Because a disrespectful woman will always be disrespectful. It's to do with her upbringing. It's to do with her father's presence in her life. It's to do with the type of mother she had. If her mother was a promiscuous whore, then of course this girl, when she grows up, she will be promiscuous. She won't think there's anything wrong in wearing an ultra tight, ultra revealing dress for a girl's night out, even when she's married. Imagine your own wife leaves you and your children to go out drinking with her girlfriends. She's probably gotten felt up by guys. Guys approached her. She chooses that lifestyle over the wholesome, spiritual, clean life with her husband and her children. Do you think you can convert that woman? Do you think you can change that woman who's always been a dirty slut? Do you think you can change her into a good, God-fearing woman? Of course not. You can't. A disobedient woman will always be disobedient. She will always take offense at you, her boyfriend, her husband, telling her to do something. She will make you beg. It's in their nature. Women who aren't wife quality, women who are low quality, this is just who they are. Why spend all this time and effort trying to undo decades of their poor upbringing? The fact that they had a fatherless relationship growing up, the fact that their mother was promiscuous. Why? Just go find a woman who meets these core minimum standards and put that time and effort instead on building something truly special. The last thing I want to say is these are the minimum standards. So when you guys date and when you marry and you live together and you grow your relationship, these standards become even stronger. They are still there. Your wife must always be respectful to you. Your wife must always be obedient. Your wife must always be feminine. But the level to which she's respectful, obedient, and feminine will increase with time if your relationship prospers. So when you first meet a girl, you can't expect her to be this 10 out of 10 wife quality from day one. Because by that logic, you should be 10 out of 10 husband quality. Do you have a very high paying job? Or your business is flourishing? Can you retire her right now? Do you have your own house? Do you drive? Are you able to flourish her life with love and comfort? Take her on whatever holiday she wants to go on, make her feel like a princess? Maybe not, and that's okay, because you need to grow together. A soulmate is built, not just predetermined, which means when you guys meet, if she does have potential to be your future wife, if you think she's potentially your soulmate, then build that connection. Don't expect it to be this 10 out of 10 vibe just from the start. You have to understand, at first you will be a stranger in her life. So of course she still has to meet the minimum standards for respect. But why should she respect you more than other people? More than her own father, more than her own mother? You want her to respect you more than everyone else? Then show her why she should. Date her, marry her, build that connection together into something truly special. When you live your life together, you will influence her. If she is a feminine woman, she is subject to wholesome, positive influence from you. And then she will go on this journey to becoming this 10 out of 10 wife quality woman in time. Just as you will continue your journey of becoming this 10 out of 10 masculine man in time. Follow what I've said in this video. Apply these standards analyze the woman that you are wanting to date, currently dating, looking to get married. If she's respectful, obedient, and feminine, she's the one.